Do you hate the thought of working past 55 or 60? Do you hate not being able to live the life you deserve today? Do you hate not knowing what your financial future looks like? It's time to stop doing what you hate. Here's your host, Mr. Harold Green.
Aloha, everybody. This is Harold Green of Breaktree Financial Group, and it is time to stop doing what you hate. I hope you are having a fantastic day today. We're here in Hawaii, and it's been an amazing day, and just really excited to be sharing with you guys today's show titled "Creating a Winning Environment." That's right, creating a winning environment. I always like to share a little bit about what's been happening with me and, what's been going on with, in my life, and pretty transparent about things. And so I think it was about a couple of weeks ago when everything was just going to hell in a handbasket and everybody was just saying the world's going to come to an end. And it was tough. And I was doing everything I could. I was doing everything I knew. But yet it was like I was stepping in landmines and everything was blowing up around me. And it wasn't because of anything that I was doing wrong. It was just because of the environment that we are in. So I said to myself, you know what, dude, you know what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing. You're making the right decisions, and then things are going to turn around. And then when things turn around, it's going to be amazing. And so I stayed the course. And finally, I just said, you know what, I already set, I already lit the match to the dynamite, and I just need to wait for the fuse to run its course, and then boom, sure enough, things turn around. But, now we're back here again. And so one of the things I want to talk about is creating a winning environment. And what's going on in our country right now is really getting to me because, man, I don't see enough people wanting to create a winning environment. It's almost like they're trying to create a losing environment on purpose. And it really bothers me because so many people are buying into that. It's just a shame. And it's extremely frustrating if you're a hardworking person. You do the things that you need to do and you're diligent. And yet you look at all these headwinds and you're looking at all these problems that are being created unnecessarily. And so I want to talk to you folks today about what you can do to create and maintain a winning environment, because quite frankly, that's how you get through anything in life with something called, I heard this guy say it yesterday. He said it was eternal optimism. His attitude is things are going to work out. Things are always going to work out. Things are always going to be better than they are right now, as long as things line up and you do the things that you need to do. So we're going to talk about creating a winning environment because it's very important. And it's one of the things that I did with my kids when they were growing up. And so many people ask me like, oh my God, you're so lucky. Oh my God, your kids are so successful. Oh my God, like, what did you guys do? Oh my God, like, what's so special about your kids? And they must be geniuses. And I said, what are you talking about? Only thing we did with them was we used common sense and we created a winning environment. And what does that look like? What is a winning environment? Are you ready? 1, 2, 3, let's get it. So the first rule of creating and maintaining a winning environment, it starts with a mindset. You must, number one, create and maintain a winning mindset. Now, this is probably stuff you've already heard before, and you're probably wondering why I keep talking about like this self-help stuff, right? Because I'm going to do a little show later on down the road titled Mind Problems or Money Problems. And this is a big one. Mind problems or money problems. And I'll give you a little sneak peek. A lot of people with money problems is not necessarily a money problem. It's how they think and it's how they see things in their mind. It's almost like mental problems. And I may have a guest on the show talking about all the challenges that people face in terms of how they think with their money and the actions that they take. Man, it's extremely crazy. But we'll get into that. But it starts with a mindset. How do you see yourself in life? Do you see yourself as being able to achieve things? Or do you see yourself as being like, hey, I wasn't born with this. Hey, I wasn't born with that. Hey, I grew up on the wrong side of the tracks. Hey, my parents were alcoholics. Or, hey, I was bullied. Hey, I faced racism. Hey, I was dumped 10 times by 10 different girls.
hey, I'm divorced and because my wife cheated on me. There's a lot of things in life that will cause you heartache and things that will cause you concern and things that will cause you a tremendous amount of pain and suffering. And those things will also cause you to digress into a losing mindset where you say to yourself, man, it doesn't seem like anything can go right for me. Nothing is going right for me. Nothing will ever go right for me. Things are always going wrong. And it seems like there's always one thing bad happening after another. And it all starts with the mindset. Either you believe you can win or you believe you're just going to always lose. And that is a negative situation that constantly feeds itself. It's like a negative feedback loop, right? The car breaks down. This happens, that happens. It's just bad things happening all the time. It's because of the law of attraction. And Proverbs says very clearly, as a man thinketh in his heart, or a woman, or boy or girl, as a person thinketh in his heart, so is he. As you think in your heart, so are you. And if you think you're never going to be able to win, guess what? You are not going to win. You're going to constantly lose all the time. But it starts with creating a winning mindset. And the winning mindset says, yes, I can overcome. Yes, I can pursue, overtake, recover all. Yes, this is a short-term setback. Yes, I know next time it's going to be different. However, that is as long as you are taking the appropriate steps. What do I mean by that? You can't constantly think you're going to be a winner acting like a loser. And this is point number 2. When I was raising my kids, I told them you're not going to win them all. You can think you're going to win them all, but you're not going to win them all. So I said, losing is acceptable, but being a loser is not, because you're not going to win them all. You're going to prepare to win everything there is to win. But are you going to win absolutely every deal you ever set at the table at? Are you going to win every sale or close every deal that you get on the phone, or every client that comes in your office, are you going to close every single thing every single time? No, nobody bats 1,000%. Nobody, right? Sometimes you're going to strike out. But does that make you a loser? No. Losing is acceptable, but being a loser is not. Now, let's talk about what a loser is, because we're not about that losing, we're all about that winning. Someone who displays a pattern of self-defeating actions, I consider that person a loser, or they have a loser mentality. Deep down inside, they're born to be a winner. However, their actions are constantly making them losers. Someone who displays a pattern of self-defeating actions. Now, here's the thing about this. If we are preparing, we are all presented with opportunities to succeed and win in life. We all are. The rain shines on everyone, the rich and the poor. The sun shines on everyone, the rich and the poor. There's no special sun for the rich people over here and then it dims for the poor. Nah, it don't work like that. But people who constantly display a pattern of self-defeating actions, they're acting like losers. Another definition is somebody, I think, who constantly complains all the time. Complaining. Like, complaining is like the worst thing you can do. And I have to grab myself a lot of times because, I fall into the complaining trap. And you know what? Here's what I found. The reason why I complain sometimes is because I'm tired. I notice that when I'm really tired, I get negative. My battery is drained and I start to say things that I probably shouldn't be saying. I start to think things I probably shouldn't be thinking because I'm tired. And, the Bible talks about the devil roams around like a lion seeking whom he can destroy. And if you think about lions in the jungle, guess what? They're going after the weakest animal. So being tired will make you weak and it will make you susceptible to losing. I'm going to put that out there. So if you're tired, you got to figure out how to get untired, because it can cause you to start acting and doing self-defeating things that will turn you into a loser real fast. But complaining, man, I hate to hear people complaining, because when you try to provide a solution, guess what? They ain't trying to hear all that. They're just interested in dumping and getting that stuff out there. Somebody who's always unwilling to be corrected. That's loser right there. I talk to a lot of people, and I can tell right away if they're displaying self-defeating behavior or they're acting like a loser. I can tell right away. The first 2 or 3 minutes, as we go through a conversation, I can tell, which way this thing is going to head. The first 2 or 3 minutes of the conversation. Sometimes it's the first minute by the first thing they say. But you got to be careful with that. And here's why I'm sharing with you folks all this stuff, because this is a financial show. And I think the number one that can derail your finances is some sort of mental or emotional decision. Something that involves the mind. And here's why I'm saying this. Because I want you to be tremendously wealthy and tremendously successful, but I don't want it being derailed by the things that go on in your mind. You look at these guys who run these corporations making hundreds of millions of dollars, tens of millions of dollars, billions of dollars for their corporation. And what do? Sometimes they fall into these various unsavory situations. And you're just like, wow, how did that happen? Well, it wasn't overnight. It was a slow eroding, gradual erosion of standards, a gradual, slow erosion of morals, things like that. And it just culminates into boom, and suddenly. Proverbs talks about that. In Proverbs 7, it talks about this guy, who was like walking through the street, and this lady, her husband took a journey, and, he was gone. And she's like, yo, my man is gone, and why don't you come have some fun? And it talks about with much enticing, she persuaded him and caused him to overcome his conscience and his fear of doing the wrong thing. And then boom, dude is done, right? So you got to be careful what you're feeding yourself and what you're listening to. Again, this is a money show, but the mind, and I'm giving you guys a sneak preview, can mess up your money. Now, we're talking about creating a winning environment. Losers are always screwing stuff up. Why? Because they think they're just the stuff. They think that, hey, you know what? Like, this is who I am. This is what I want to do. And then boom, it breaks. And it's like, oh, now they're just like, wow. And you feel sorry for them, but you just got to move on. And I'm saying this because I want you to create a winning environment for yourself and to avoid these self-defeating things that people end up doing that causes them to be losers. Number 3, avoid the guilt train of wanting and doing better. I hear this all the time, right? And I was guilty of this. Like, I would mess up, or, I would miss the mark, or, I would eat something bad when I'm supposed to be eating good, or I would drink too much and be like, okay, you know what? I'll just fix this the next day. I'll do better next time. And that was my excuse to keep falling back into things that were hurting my performance when the opportunities showed up. It's like you've been preparing all your life to be a professional baseball player, and you get called, you go through the process, you make it to the major leagues, and then boom, you develop, like, say, a substance abuse problem. And now, like, you're starting, you're doing well, and then boom, you develop this problem, and now it's hurting your performance to perform during your opportunity. Creating a winning environment says that you're going to dedicate yourself to being the best you can be when the lights come on, when it's time to perform. Because opportunity is the way to wealth, right? Opportunity is going to show up for you. And the way you build your wealth is you stack wins on top of wins, right? You stack wins on top of wins on top of wins. You can't become wealthy stacking losses, right? You're going the other way. You got to stack wins on top of wins and on top of wins. And you got to celebrate these wins, right, in the appropriate season and the appropriate time. No, you got to avoid the guilt train of wanting and doing better. Now, here's the thing. Sometimes it's okay. You're going to mess up. But when you do, you just got to get up and get back at it when you miss it. But you can't do that just like right away. You got to think about why you missed it. You got to think about what caused you to do that. Because if not, you're just going to fall back into a pattern of, like, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. It's the same thing over and over again. You're going to fall into this vicious cycle, which I call a slump. And if you're not operating in a winning environment, you're operating in a losing environment, and you're never going to get to where you really want to be. This is a little bit of a self-help today, but it's something that I wanted to put out there because commonly when I work with clients, the number one thing that causes them money problems is the decisions that they make with their mind. And we'll get into that a little bit later on. I just wanted to share this with you folks today. And, the economy is what it is. They're talking about raising rates even more. They were talking about a soft landing to the economy, a soft landing. And now they're talking about maybe we can't have a soft landing. And, a lot of this is done for political reasons. It has nothing to do with inflation in and of itself. It has a lot to do with how it appears politically. And it's sad because anytime you start to do things like that, you're going to hurt a large segment of the population. And so if you are a person with money and you don't want to end up losing your money because of stupid decisions and policies that people make, we have to come up with a game plan. We have to develop a plan. And we're not talking about sitting everything in cash forever and waiting for all the storms to blow over, right? That'll help you sleep at night. But the way money works is you have to constantly find places to put your money to work. And it's probably not going to be sexy if we go into an extended downturn. It's not going to be pretty, but you want to be making something on your money all the time. You don't want to be losing all of it, but you want to be making something on your money all the time. So we got to create a plan in order to do that. Now, if you're not a client yet, do me a favor, go click in the show notes and get on my schedule, set a meeting with me, and then we want to talk about where you are, where you want to be in the next 5, 10, 15 years, or whatever that looks like for you, what kind of goals and dreams you have, how to best come up with a game plan in order to accomplish that stuff. That's absolutely free at the moment. Okay. And, it's not going to cost you anything to go just on my schedule except for an hour or so of your time. So I think it's still free. I'm not sure, but because I said it, I'll give it to you this time for free. So looking forward to talking to you if you're not yet a client. If you are a client, thank you very much for hanging in there with me, watching the company grow and watching us grow. And so right now we're in a little bit of a pickle in regards to growth. And it's like I started Brighttree 3 years ago and actually 2019, and we're in 2022. So we haven't yet hit, I don't even think we hit 3 years yet. So I think September we'll hit 3 years this year. And it's like a toddler, and that toddler is growing. And the thing about when you set up certain types of companies, they're going to grow, and you can't stop their growth. You can destroy it, but you can't stop the growth because it's going to grow. You feed it, it's going to grow. And that's the kind of firm that we built. It's just going to constantly grow if we do the things that we need to do. And so I'm looking at bringing in more people and working on that strategy right now in order to be able to handle the massive amount of the increase that, the company is seeing in terms of assets under management and different things like that. And so I just want to thank my clients. Thank you for hanging in there. Thank you for referring people out to me. And I'm just super grateful for that. And so looking forward to talking to you folks. If you're not a client yet, get on the schedule and let's have a conversation. But got to create that winning environment. And so go out there and do that. Start it, implement it. Let's win, not lose. And until next time, everybody, 1, 2, 3, let's get it.
This is thepodcastfactory.com.